Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the South Fulton Coalition. Tonight, we actually have two featured guests, Tamika Leverett. Tamika Leverett is a resident of the city of South Fulton since before it was South Fulton. She moved here back in 1995, and she is a resident of District 5. She is going to be our moderator tonight, and we also have our featured guest, Mr. Mel Keyton. Mel Keyton is a resident of District 4. He is running to unseat the incumbent, J.C. Sebastian, who is the current councilman, who is getting ready to wrap up his first term. So at this time, I just want to go over some ground rules. So for this event, we ask that the candidate refrain from making abusive comments about the incumbent or about his other opponents. And we ask that we just adhere to the rules of decorum and respect. So at this time, I would like to, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, if a member of the public would like to ask Mr. Mel Keyton a question, please use the reaction button and raise your hand, and at that time, I will unmute you. At this time, I would like to turn it over to our moderator, Ms. Tamika Leverett. Ms. Leverett, please unmute your microphone. You have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in these proceedings and these conversations in the community. I truly appreciate being asked to be a part of this. I'll give you a little bit of background of who I am and what I do in the community and why I was happy to be a moderator tonight. I have worked for the City of South Fulton from 2021 to 2024. I was actually a council legislative specialist. So I have firsthand knowledge of how the council were handling issues or dealing with staff or dealing with cities and issues in the community. I also have a nonprofit organization, Facts to Thrive, that provides several services in the South Fulton area. We do home repairs for low-income seniors. We do senior technology training classes. We do job training support. We assist with doing monthly food distributions in District 6, among other things. We are trying to step and be in the gap of the organizations and what is happening within the city of South Fulton. So I have a master's in public administration focused on nonprofit and government. And I have a master's in business also focused on government and business. So hopefully that allows me to ask some questions, and hopefully some of my questions are good questions. And I would like to turn over the time for 30 seconds for a moment and ask you, Mel, how, before we get started, do you want to let everyone know who you are and why you're running for this position?
Yeah, hello. For the people that don't know me, I am Mel Keyton. I'm running for the City of South Fulton District 4 City Council seat. And I'm running because I feel like we need to do some changes down and with our city officials and how we operate with things going on with the city, and so we can be more efficient at what we do. And I really want to focus on good government, and because I work in government and showing people like what that looks like and what the city could be with good government and good officials and good leaders leading them in the community. So those are the reasons that I am running. I work in government now. I work for DeKalb County in engineering, watershed, and construction and GIS. And I also work on the federal consent decree with the federal government, and so we can be in compliance with the federal laws with DeKalb County. And I also work in on some intergovernment agreements that we have with the city of Atlanta, Gwinnett, Fulton County as well. So I get to see all the data that they have from Fulton County as well. And I get to see it because, and I like looking at that because I live in Fulton County. So it really makes sense to me. And I really feel like with all the building and all the construction and all the development that we have going on in the city of South Fulton, that we actually need somebody on council that knows what they're doing and know what to look for so we can develop the right way, because we cannot keep going in the direction that we have been going in and be successful as a city. And if we keep doing this in the long run, we're going to be in a bad position. So those are the reasons that I'm running, mainly for good government and to make sure that the legislation and the ordinances that are being passed with our leaders are for the people and not against them. So that's me.
Well, thank you for giving us a general understanding of who you are and why you're running for this position. And I'm going to ask some questions, and then we'll open it up to the community to ask some additional questions. So I am looking at the upcoming council agenda that will be happening tomorrow. And if you were on council, you would have had to deal with these issues. So I want to ask you, one of the questions that I see on here is the fact that the council is looking to, on the agenda, request that council approval of an extension of the professional services agreement with Dr. Cedric Alexander to serve as the interim director of public safety for the city of South Fulton from November 13th, 2025 through May 31st of 2026. Can you tell me how you would answer that, vote on that topic, and why or why not?
Well, that's a hard one coming into it, coming into a new council seat and looking at and reading those documents. You really got to be careful when I would have to see what has been going on and what's being said in executive session. But I really feel like new leadership needs to make their own decisions on how they want things based on. I would not vote for that long. No, I would not, because you're giving a contract to somebody and I don't know what it is. And in the past, if you know, we have made some bad decisions with some contracts, and I really would want to know what is going on with that. But I think that having a contract that long is too long of an agreement for a new or the same mayor or with a different council coming in, with new leadership coming in. So I think that after a couple of meetings in executive session or later on in the past, we probably can figure out if we need to revisit that and rehire or redo a contract. But I would not vote on that long. No.
Well, I'm glad to hear that's your decision. The reason I'm saying that is because if you notice, the current policy was for the 90 days. So if it's only been a month, why are we already approving a contract to give it all the way through 2026 when we haven't even begun the investigation? Are you already, as a city, already saying they know it's going to last over a year? I mean, so you'll be already in office and that contract will already be in place and you'll be stuck with that contract. So that's why I asked your answer on where you felt like that, since initially it wasn't supposed to be that long.
Right.
So that goes into a question of why do you think that contract is being added now before his original contract of a temporary is being amended now?
Well, I think right now, but the straight answer, I'm just going to give it to you straight. I think now you have a council that serves each other and they serve their colleagues. So they're doing what they need to do. And it's not everybody. I'm just saying, just in general, you have a council that from time to time they serve their colleagues and they're not, or they might be getting bad advice, or that you kind of want to go with the flow of what your colleagues, what you so-called colleagues are saying. So you're going to agree to something like that to get favor on something else later on. But I think that right now, that's being done because they have the ball is in the court of the city manager right now, and it's in her court and it's in her favor, and she has the power to do that right now. Why she has the favor of the council. So that's what I think is still being done right now.
All righty, which leads into another function of council. Council is to has the direct reports of the city manager, the city attorney, the judge, and what's the last one? City manager, judge, the city attorney, and
The city clerk.
thank you, the city clerk. you have to give them annual review. As of now, from your understanding of what you know about them and the way that the city is functioning and their job responsibilities, what would be your annual review of them at this time?
Well, every time have reached out to the clerk, he's been receptive to my needs and what I asked for. He's been very receptive and professional on the city clerk wise. I think on the other levels of the other administration, it's hit and miss. So I feel like sometimes, we need to separate that from the city councils, that friendship and whatever this is they have together, where they have control over the destiny of people that are not elected, that are here to work for the city of South Fulton on their behalf. I think we need to sever those ties where they cannot hang that over their head, over the clerk's head, or the minute that you don't do what they feel like was in favor of them or what they wanted you to do, that they might get fired. They probably can fire you or do something, or reprimand you in some kind of way. And it leaves too much room for elected officials to control staff autonomously, So that's how I feel about that.
Okay, that would be your answer for the city clerk. How do you feel about the city manager? Her contract is up for renewal at the end of the year or the beginning of next year.
I feel like a new leadership should bring on the administration that they want to bring on, and that looks like their administration. Because however, those ties and those relationships have been made however they are. And it doesn't look like the current administration, and it doesn't look like the current mayor or the face of the city, or whoever that may be. So I think that whoever that is should I think they should be able to bring on their own, that contract should end, and they should be able to bring their own administration in.
All right, the interim city attorney.
The interim city attorney, not so much, because it's not what I know about government, you don't want to have everybody on the same line as far as bringing in new people, because you want to leave back some of that leadership and some of that knowledge, that you want to leave some back. And I don't think the interim should actually be subject to the same agreement as the city manager.
And then the city judge.
City judge. That's a hard one. I wish we could be voting on the city judge, but that is a very hard decision, and it's not like we got a lot of judges like every day, and we just have a slew of judges that we can choose from. So I really don't know about the city judge, how we should do that part.
Okay. All righty. One of the things that residents and staff have a problem with is the city having too many events. They have been on more than one occasion asked to turn in a list of events for the entire year so that the council can approve it. They are then supposed to respect that those dates are blocked and there shouldn't be duplicate events happening at the same time. However, some do it and some don't. We have agenda items this week for new events. And it's getting into the last quarter. What do you say in regards to following that rule? And if you were to come in office in January, what events programs would you like to see the city do that will be on your calendar wish list?
I'm going to answer this question just a little different. They waste too much money with events and too many parties. I watched last year in December, they had over 40 events in 1 month. And it was despicable to see that happen like that. It is a total waste of resources. It's a total waste of overtime for staff. And you just got to call it at what it is. You're just campaigning. everybody is campaigning, and I wish my wish list would be to remove people's faces off of those flyers, and they would just use the city seal, and there will be no names on any of these city events. That would cut out all these events because everybody wants to make it or give this impression to the residents in their district that they're doing something, but they're not doing nothing. You just wasting money. I mean, I've sit and watched council talk about helping kids and argue for an hour over kid bikes. And I just, my wish list would be to lower some of those budgets on what you can do on events. Have your staff that handles events for the city on the city behalf handle those events. So everybody will have to choose on what they're doing. And if you want to go outside and have your own event for your district or whatever you want to do, you should use either a nonprofit or if you want to use your face on the flyer, and you just should you should have to do that on your own time, not with the city's budget. So my wish list would be, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, it looks like we had a question. Are we doing questions now?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on this. But we can do the questions later if you want to. It's up to you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So there was a question that came in about the number of events, as well as we have 7 different districts, and each district is run as its own city. So we have like 7 different mayors plus the mayor that we elected. So what are your thoughts on the number of districts, the number of council people that act like mayors? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's exactly what's happening. Everybody think that they have their own city, their own capital, and they're operating autonomously of the city. They're not doing the work of the people. They're doing the work for themselves. And I think everybody spends their term campaigning the whole entire time. And it's happening so much that, you're not even handling the business of the city and what you should be doing as far as legislation and making sure. I mean, at this point, we spent too much time, working against each other than working for each other. So I think with that, that is why, we have so many different events. And that's why, and I think that's why nobody can really agree on legislation when it's beneficial to the residents in the community, because everybody, this thing about district courtesy, when there's development going on, and let's say we got 4, and then that's undesirable to the residents, and then we got some development that's in district, we're gonna say 7, that's undesirable to the residents. So when you have a council that says, oh, this is my district and I need district courtesy, and I need all you guys to say yes, because this is my district. And if you say yes to me, I'll say yes to you for something that's undesirable in your district to the residents. And that's why the residents always get left behind, and we always get the short end of that stick. So when we do that, it creates division between the residents and the city council. And it leaves too much room for a council person to be able to do things that's not desirable in that district. Because if you are an elected official, you should be working on behalf of the residents in the city of South Fulton, not just your district. So that creates the issue in itself. That's why there's so much fighting going on, because the council can't agree. The council is making deals. So.
All right, I'll come back to your comment about the argument over the bikes in a minute, because you led into another question that I had. And it was generally, if something is up for a vote in a particular district, the council votes in the direction of that district's preference. So if they agree, then they all agree. If they don't agree, I mean, if they deny, then they all deny. And number one, you somewhat answered your philosophy with it and why you do or don't agree with it. However, let's talk about the fact that you are only one of 7 votes. So how do you feel you're going to get the things you need pushed through if they don't, if you vote against what they want and they start voting against what you want? How do you want that? How do you explain how you're going to handle that on getting things pushed through that you think should be done for the city?
Well, with that, you have to come in and you have to be firm at what your beliefs and why you're there, and you can't waver on why you're there in that seat. You when you come in, everybody comes in and say, "Hey, I want to help the city of South Fulton. I want to help the residents. I want to be that voice for the people." And if you don't waver from that, when you start wavering, and once you play in the dirt one time, you kind of mess up. You lose your integrity when you say, "I'm here to do one specific thing," and knowing that you are making a bad decision on behalf of because you want something else. You're setting that tone that you can be compromised as long as I give you something. If I will not, I'm going to set the tone because I believe what I believe. I would never vote yes to the things that I've heard almost 8 years that people say they did not want in this community. I know I would not vote for that because, and I have to set the tone and say, hey, we know for a fact that Mel Keyton is not going to vote for this. We know for a fact that what Mel is saying that he wants, Mel's going to speak, Mel's going to vote how the residents want him to vote. And once you set that tone, especially when we have new council people coming in, we will be able to set the tone together that everybody will have to get on board. Like everybody know we are here to represent the people. That's it. That's our biggest asset in the city are the people.
All righty. Now let me again reiterate. Some of these questions are coming from things I have actually seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to be speaking on any particular council person or the way the city moves or the things that are going on. So these are real things as a council person you would have to deal with, is my hope or the point of my questions. So the next thing that brings us to the next point, zoning. On several occasions, the committees will suggest denial and the staff will say approval. They'll both say deny, they'll both say approve. How do you want to handle, especially when people are coming to ask to change the zoning for land? How do you think we should handle that? Number one. And then number two, how do you think why do you think that, I know the answer, but I want to see why do you think that there is a conflict with the committee voting for them to deny something and the staff saying yes, approval?
Okay, so it's funny you say that because we had a case just like that, right? We got 2 cases like that. I hear them all the time. Staff recommends, city council does not know how to develop. They are not the expert. I can see that because how they vote. There's a reason why staff, you have engineers, you have GIS, you have a lot of people. You have Fulton County Water, you got Atlanta Watershed, you have all these different entities that need to take place in your decision making before you making a decision on zoning and development. It's there for you to see. They don't look at it. They approve it and then they try to figure out later on why it didn't work. And then you'll see these other meetings where the developer comes back to the city council and say, hey, I need to do a change order because the cost of supplies and demand it just went up. The building materials went up. I'm not going to be able to do that development, and because of the supplies went up after COVID. That is not true. What they tried to do was force a development that was not going to work. If they need to force the developers to do the work up front first, you need to go to the City of Atlanta Watershed and say, hey, I'm proposing this project. All right, I need to do a pre-construction meeting with you to see will this work. And then I need to go back And then I need to ask, before I even take it that far, I need to go to the residents and say, what do the residents want? What is the need? Everybody has this preconception about you guys need density. That's why you don't have any sit down restaurants. That's why you don't have the things that you need to have, because you need density. You don't have enough people. That is the script that I don't know if the people down at the municipal association or the developers are telling them to say this, but that is not true. So we had a situation like that. Developer came behind Hampton Oaks. He wanted to change it to the zoning to homes at first, and then he wanted to go to townhomes for $200,000 and say, "Oh, we need affordable housing." And the council person or council, they have this script where they say, "Well, my daughter just got out of college, my son just got out of college, and they need somewhere to stay, and they can't afford nothing, so we need somewhere for the young people to stay." I get it, we do, but if you would have listened to planning, staff, and the residents that told you no, you wouldn't have made the mistake that you just made. Now you got a mistake going on down with an issue with the City of Atlanta watershed. They're saying, hey, you can't build that development because that's a private road. That is the reason why we did not run a water main down that road, because it's a private road. The only way that you can get water now is to get a master meter and tap into the existing business across the street, in which you still will not have enough water pressure to build this massive townhome development that you are trying to approve. But if you do it, you will have to use a third party for your water services, and that third party will in turn charge those residents for water. If they don't pay their water bill, he will turn all their water off, and he can charge his own rates. And that is why you listen to the staff, and you listen to the zoning, and you listen to the residents and what they want, and you do your research up front. They don't know this. You'll notice that there are other issues around South Fulton where development, we have raw sewage coming out behind people's houses. You know, they won't listen. So that is why you listen.
Okay, so let me reiterate again. My question was formed around when the board recommendation is saying deny and the staff is saying approve.
Mm-hmm.
There's a conflict. They're not on the same accord.
Okay.
Often it's because zoning laws or rules or regulations are making the staff approve because of what the city has in place. So how do you want to handle that disconnect of the zoning guidelines may not be right, or they allow the window for developers to slide through some of these things?
Okay, so I would like to handle that as far as following the overlays. You have a Cliftondale overlay, you have a Cedar Grove overlay, you have planned communities. You need to follow those recommendations and those overlay districts that are telling you when it's okay and when it's not okay to build certain things in those planned communities. And as far as not, I would not vote or on anything that goes against those overlay districts. And even though it says, just because you have, let's say you have a situation where you have townhomes down the street, and zoning says it's agricultural, and it says, okay, because this is agricultural, that you can build townhomes on agricultural, because that was like the default zoning that they put everything in is agriculture. So, you know, you can change agriculture when you feel like it, but just because it says that does not mean that you have to have the suggested development that the developer wants. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I would not.
I'm gonna give you an example.
Mm.
On the agenda that's coming up, it has first read of rezoning ordinance, an application by the Bath Brothers requesting a rezoning from C1 Limited Commercial District Old National Highway Overlay to a C2 General Commercial District Old National Highway Overlay with a special use permit to allow for a liquor store. The staff recommendation was a Z2526 approval and a U25008 denial. Planning Commission recommendation was 7-0 denial.
I would go with the staff's recommendation on denial. I think people I think a lot of times people hear that and they say, oh, it's other liquor stores on Old National, so we can do that. And you're wasting all your you can't grow land. So I would follow the recommendation of the staff because they are privy and they do this every day. So I think I would follow the recommendation of the staff and not approve that, regardless of the fact.
Okay.
Mm.
And so you kind of touched on one of my next questions. I promise you, I didn't send you these questions, but you're going right down my list.
Mm.
How do you think the land use map should be designated for various types of property? In other words, where do you think the warehouses should go? Where do you think the designated downtown should be and the designated main street should be?
I think you know, we should have two areas where you can put your downtown. I think Old National, either Old National, that's if you can clean Old National up, but you're going to have to buy some land. I would love to see whatever this project, this Manson project, take off, but it doesn't look like it's going to take off anytime soon. But if not, also I would propose it being somewhere on Camp Creek in between Butner Road, on that corridor, Butner Road and Demooney, Enon, somewhere up in that corridor, because that's a main artery where you have full access to the state road that goes back and forth to the airport. It can go either way, south towards Lithia Springs, and you have a main artery for state roads, and you can probably more than likely get help from GDOT on your project with road improvements.
Mm-hmm. This is where you want to put the downtown or you want to put the main street?
Either Old National
Okay.
or the downtown on Camp Creek.
Okay.
Either or.
Where would you put the warehouses?
Warehouse. First of all, I don't want to see any more warehouses. We got enough warehouses online. Warehouses would stay on Fulton Industrial because Fulton Industrial is an industrial area. That's it. If you can't find anywhere else to put a warehouse and on Fulton Industrial, then that's it. We're full. That's all. That's it. We don't have nowhere to put warehouses no more because Fulton Industrial was designed for warehouses. It doesn't belong nowhere else, and it leaves too much room when you're changing. I don't know if you paid attention to the ordinance that was passed, and it sounds very much like a developer wrote the ordinance about the data centers, in which they sneak and kind of change it to a warehouse, and then you can later on change it to a data center. So it kind of seems like that developer wrote that specifically for the South Fulton area. So I think that warehouses need to go in industrial areas. So if it's in an industrial area, that's it. That's where it needs to go. And they need to shrink those areas where industrial areas are and have them in densified areas where the truck can go to straight or directly to I-285 or I-20 and get on the expressway and not have to use our back road. So,
All righty. The 2023 audit was just released in July of 2025. Several discrepancies was noted. Can you tell me one that you noticed when you read it and how you advise that the council should address it and advise the city manager to handle it?
let me see. I noticed that you mean you saw the audit with PCARs, or just the audit period?
No, the general audit.
Just in general, I noticed that a lot of people they were not using the nonprofits, they were using their budget to do like food giveaways and community work, which they should have been using the nonprofits that that are around and available to us. And I also noticed that we are wasting a lot of money on Wolf Creek. I think we use I think we're wasting about $1 million a year on Wolf Creek, and we still don't own Wolf Creek. So I noticed that in the audit. I noticed that the contracts, we're paying a lot of money in contracts. We're contracting too many city services out, and and we could be winging ourselves off of those contracts and bringing those in house. So I did notice that on the audit when I looked at it.
All righty. This is my last question before I go to the audience. There was a resolution by the mayor and council pledging to practice and promise civility in the city of South Fulton. How do you feel about that on the way it's being handled in the city, our civility on the council?
They're just talking. That's it. You know, look. Yeah, I don't see that happening. I'm just saying the truth. I don't see that happening. I don't know how you pledge that and then you're doing 5 minutes later you're fighting and you're doing something totally different. So that's where I'm with it. I'm sorry.
All righty. So I will take a moment to start answering questions by the people who have their hands raised. I have a Yoshina Colbert Bradford with a raised hand. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you so much for moderating. I think you're doing an amazing job. So I have
Thank
one
you.
comment. I just listening to all of the candidates. It would be nice. It would have been nice to have some of your questions to some of the other candidates. I think you really dived into some things that we were not privy to dive into with other candidates. So that's one. And then my question would be for the candidate, Mr. Mill. As a citizen, even though you're running for office, you still have to vote. And if you had to choose, who would be the person you would choose or who you think, and not necessarily that you're voting for them, you would like to have as mayor?
Uh, well, you got a couple of options, right? Everybody brings something good to the table. Not everybody brings something good to the table. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Well, let me say this so you won't blow. I won't say your option. Who would be your top three?
My top three.
Yes.
Let me see.
I'll help you even out. I'll keep you safe. Who you think the runoff would be?
Who do I think the runoff is?
Thank you, moderator.
Who do I think the runoff is gonna be?
Yes, that would be an easier one.
Man, it's hard to answer that because so many people are me door knocking. People are upset. They are really upset. They are upset with this administration. So, and some people don't want to go back. Some people don't want to see nothing they've seen before. Some people really want to change, like they really, really, really want to change, and I think they mean it. Man, I can't predict that. I really can't. You know, I really can't predict that right now. Who I think the runoff is gonna be. This is gonna be really, really, really weird right here. So I don't
So
know.
let me just say this: if we kept Mayor Kobe, what would be the things that you would work with him on?
With Khalid, um, he has to be different this year. He has to be if he was to stay, he would have to be the same person consistently that he has been the last 3 weeks. He would have to be that person and stay that person.
All right. Thank you for that. Next question comes from Ellen Miller Mapp. Go ahead with your question. And while she's unmuting, I'll just say, Yoshina, when I was asked to moderate, Mr. Snelling said that I could come up with any questions that I wanted, and I was not to send them to him or to the candidate, so that those were they were clean questions and they had to answer fresh, and that I was not from the district, so I didn't have any allegiance to whoever was running. So that's all I can say for how the questions made it to the table today compared to some of the other days. Ms. Miller, Map, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Keyton.
How you doing?
My question is related to data centers.
Mhm.
I don't like warehouses either, but we kind of beat those to the ground. We don't like them. But data centers trouble me more because of the environmental impact, their relatively short lifespan, and the damage it can do to the environment once they are used up and moved. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question, I heard one of those developers say that Georgia Power would be responsible for giving the data centers their own electrical, I forget the word, but where they would be off the same grid as residents. So it should not impact our electricity or our service or our billing. I doubt that. But I'd like to hear your take on the data centers.
Um, you'll notice I've worked on some projects that were directly in line with in DeKalb County with some development of a data center. And from what I see, they do use a lot of resources. And what you will see is that hike in your bill. And they might say, "Oh, Georgia Power is going to pay for it," but Greystone is going to pay for the infrastructure needs of that data center. But you will see that we're actually paying for it, and there is no benefit to the residents with this many data centers. How many data centers do you actually need? They use a lot of resources. They take up a lot of land, and I think it's a fad right now that everybody's going to the data centers because you get a tax incentive for bringing data centers. Fulton County gave out $100 million in tax incentives for data centers. I think Microsoft got the biggest one. That project is stalled, by the way. X, and I think it was one more that got like $16 million or $35 million. But they use up a whole lot of resources. And right now, as it stands, we don't even have enough resources for residents who need water, and for the water distribution system that we have in place that's provided by the City of Atlanta watershed. So we don't have enough resources for that right now. And the number one reason that we have a water distribution system is for fire safety. So we don't have what we need for that. So I think that if I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but I stand firm that they're rushing this on us right now. And if you ever listen to one of those meetings about data centers, they can never give you a clear answer on what it's actually going to do. The jobs that they say they're going to bring, it does not bring the jobs the professional jobs that it say that they're going to bring. It doesn't do any of that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, and I apologize for my dog. I did have one more to add to that, Mr. Keyton, and with what I've learned about data centers and their overall impacts, it seems to me that the city of South Fulton is not ready to take on the challenges that the data centers will bring on a financial level and on a service delivery level. The tax incentives, the tax gain that the city might have probably will not cover the expenses that will follow the data centers, not to mention the impacts on citizens.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think we're rushing it right now. It's the thing to do, and it's the I cannot. Well, I do understand. I don't. I'm saying I don't understand why they keep developing and keep approving data centers, but I kind of think I know why, and it's for personal gain. I don't think that anybody who has a long-term investment or the intention on staying in this city that would do something like that. That would approve this much development of a data center. So like I said, it's a new thing right now. AI is a new thing right now, but like I said, I agree with you. There is no benefit, and I think that people have made deals on for themselves for data centers, and unfortunately, it's the people that are elected to serve that are approving this, and anybody can go see from the county level on down.
Yeah.
Who is approving this stuff? It's up to the people to look at and say, how did you vote on this issue? And you will answer your own question on should you be voting these people back in from the county level to from the state level down to the city council level.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All righty, thank you for your question. Next up is Yvonne Coleboom.
Thank you. Mr. Mel,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, D4, it has more farmland or agricultural land than any other district. And I live in, and I'm wondering, first thing I'm wondering is how do you feel about farming and how do you feel about food sovereignty for the city of South Fulton? I happen to live in a district where there is no grocery store. We have to spend our tax money down at Tyrone or uh, Union City or anywhere but in this city. Our tax dollars go there. And, you know, I've been told various things about why we can't have a park and people steal too much. We got to have density, all these things. So sometimes I feel like, well, the heck with it. Why can't we grow and sell and be in charge of our own production and manufacture of our food? So I'm asking you, how do you feel about food sovereignty in the state, in the city of South Fulton?
I love farmland, so I'm from the city, so but I love farmland. That's why I moved to D4. I love it. I love farmland. We do need to put the shopping and the restaurants on where they need to go. But I actually love farmland. And I think we don't have anybody that is receptive to listening to what farmland and what farming actually does. There's a lot of grant money out here for rural farming and farmland that's close to the city. It's millions, trillions of dollars for farming right now. And we don't tap into it. We don't give the resources. We don't guide the people to where those resources are. Like I tell people all the time when I see somebody that has a farm, I say, hey, the first thing I ask them, hey, do you have your farmer ID number? And some people say, what is that? Yeah, I said, get you a farmer ID number and get you an LLC, and you can actually apply for grants that will actually help you farm your land. I mean, it's a farm right on Bethlehem Road near my house. And I'm so afraid that somebody is going to take that land and make it into like a subdivision or some warehouse or something like that. That's something that we don't need. And I'm in agreement with you that we do need to recognize our farmers and make sure they have the resources that they need. And because the food that we're eating now is not healthy for us. But if you go, we have a limited resources on healthy food options right now. One of the biggest resources that we have is the Cab Farmers Market, where you can get your fresh food from. And I think that is we can grow so much stuff on our own land right now and have the farmers make money and keep them occupied and keep them gainfully employed if we do business with them and help them to sell and farm their land. So I think that I really wish that we can give more resources to the farmers that we have in the city, or make sure that their land is protected and not encroached on by bad development and Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did. And I just have one more if it's okay.
Okay.
And thank you, by the way. You seem very much like Sebastian, Councilman Sebastian. So in your ideas and your ideology. So I'm asking you, why are you running for council?
Well, I'm running for council because I want to focus on good government and what we have now in the current administration. And I just let you know I am not like Sebastian. I actually am a person that does what he says he's going to do, and I'm very clear. I am a
Bad.
fighter. Look. I am a fighter, and I stand on what I believe in, and I do what people ask me to do. I do not waver, and I am a fighter for my community. Win or lose, I never stop, and I'm running because I know that we deserve so much better in not only just the District 4 area, but in the city of South Fulton. We deserve better. We deserve people who are going to listen to what we ask them to do. We deserve to have we deserve to have a voice in our city. And our tax money is our equity. And we should have a choice in how the city and elected officials spend our equity in this community. And it should not be your way or or the highway. So that's why I'm running, because I want to show people what a good government actually looks like when you have elected officials who actually listen and do what they say they're going to do all the time from day one.
Okay, and if I don't see any other hands, so may I ask another question? How are you going to deal with the difficult personalities on the council?
Well, like I said before, you have to come in and you have to be firm on why you're there. And you have to ask yourself, what got you here? Why are you there? And you have to stay there, and you have to stay in a space that not saying that you can't grow, but you have to, if you come in and everybody knows that what your beliefs are, and you vote that way all the time, and you act that way all the time, and the things that you said that you're going to do when you're campaigning, because people seem to forget every time they're campaigning, once they get in those seats, they forgot what they said to get in those seats and what they say they want to do. But you have to do the things that you said you're going to do. And once you stay on course on what you're doing and how you're going to be, and what your beliefs are, and that you're going to do the work for the entire city as a whole, I think people, they can't argue with that. Like, they can't argue with me when I say I'm going to do a certain thing and I'm doing a certain thing. You can't. There's nothing to get along with. Mel Keyton said that this is what he's going to do. Mel Keyton said this is what he believes in. Mel Keyton votes with the residents all the time. Mel Keyton listens to reason, and Mel Keyton follows the staff recommendation when it's at most of the time when it's legit. So
Okay, thank you
that's
so
how
much.
okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
All righty, so I will give you another example and ask you, what do you think should happen with the way that was handled? So, for example, in the audit financial findings, it said in the September 30th, 2023 bank reconciliations for 8 of the city's 20 bank accounts, including the city's main operating pool cash account, were not properly reconciled until April of 2025, approximately 1 year, 6 months after the city's fiscal year end, which was also the same time that the city manager came in 23. Due to the delay of the city's bank reconciliation process, the following adjustments were required properly to report cash in the following funds. The general fund was reduced by $1,500,000. $500,000. T-Splot's fund was reduced by $1,800,000. And the capital grant fund was increased by $676. This is due because of the failure to timely reconcile the city bank accounts. Now, which gave them a risk of undetected errors and misstatements of financial records. how do you think the city council should handle finding that out?
How they should handle finding that out? I think that they should go back because I watched that meeting and I didn't like how they reconciled everything at one time. I really paid attention to that because a lot of things did not make sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me. I felt like as if they reconciled all those everything that they had going on because they were just trying to get it over with and not deal with it and move forward and start with a so-called clean slate. And I think that was the wrong way to do that. I still think there should be a financial audit because you know, and I remember when the audit came, not the audit, but I remember when they had an invoice that came out, and I think it was like what 600, was it 600,000 or $1 million, and they did it twice. And then the contractor said, well, let us just work it off. No, they should have returned that money. And then I remember later on they're hearing that, oh, we just made a mistake. We really didn't pay nobody twice. No, you're not going to play the Jedi mind trick on me now because that's all it is. Oh, we're going to say it didn't happen. And then the more we say it didn't happen, people believe it didn't happen. Yeah, that really happened. And they need to go back and do those audits properly because we just had somebody, you know, I do not trust what's been going on with the financials and some of the elected officials over the course of what now we 7 years in. I don't trust everything. It was too much money being exchanged. And I think if we just move past this, we're never going to find out what really happened. And I think some people have gotten away with some things that they shouldn't have gotten away with. I don't think we just skip past that and say we start a clean slate, never mind that money. Now we need to go back and figure out the same way we can go back and audit the mayor or audit anybody else with P cards. We can go back and audit those things as well too. I mean, because I think we need to get down to the bottom of it, and I don't think we should just let that go. And I think we have enough staff and resources to do that.
All righty, Ms. Yoshina, go ahead with your question.
Yes, I was just going to ask in reference to the P cards. Do you think maybe creating a set amount for the staff to do like a requisition, meaning they would pay for it first and then do a requisition back to get reimbursed instead of having the P cards, or in conjunction with that, you know, putting some things in place? What would you create a solution on how to handle money better? Because sometimes I feel like when people have to pay for it first, then they think about it a little bit more or differently than how they would when they're not spending their own money.
Yeah, I think we're here because I said that I've been saying it a long time. I said, you know, you wouldn't spend your own money like this. You know, you wouldn't do the stuff that you're doing with your own money if you had to get reimbursed and the uncertainty of knowing I might not get this back. So I might not need to do this because I might not get it back, or it might take too long to get my money back. I think that there should be a different procurement process, and I think they should be going through a purchasing department that handles these things. And I think that there are too many ways and too many things that our elected officials can pay for with the P card that should not be able to get paid for with the P card, because you know you can lock out the system where you can say, hey, you can only pay for you can't pay for you can only buy plane tickets, or you can't do upgrades, or you can pay for something as far you won't be able to go to the shoe store. It should automatically kick you out of that. I really feel like the budgets are really, really too high. And I think that this P card situation is just a distraction, because we got a city manager, we have a procurement department that everybody else should be able to go through. However, there are some situations where there are some departments that may need a P card, and the ones that may need a P card, let's say it's the fire department, right? One person has that P card, but let's say a fire, they're putting out a fire on Fulton Industrial in the warehouse, and they have to be out there because you know the firefighters cannot leave, so they might be out there 8 hours, 9 hours putting out a fire. So that person would have to go buy them lunch and water and everything else that they may need. So that person would need a P card to go buy that stuff. But council is not subject. It seems like they're not subject to the same rules as the employees when it comes to P cards. When you can go, because I've seen some P cards, I'm like, well, you go eat out, if you eating out every day, and if you're not at a if you're not at a meeting or some kind of conference and you're just eating out, like, that's not what the P card is for. You should everybody gets a paycheck for what they're doing. Every grown adult, I think, you should have a credit card or something. To be able to buy your own food or something like that. You should. And I think that the P card situation has gone way too far when you look at those statements on those P cards. I've looked at stuff in the past.
You've answered it. Thank you. You've
Okay.
answered. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
All right, so let me come behind her. From the way you are describing, my question to you would then be, are you saying that one, you do not plan on using your P card should you be elected? And number two, are you saying that you would not use your community budget?
Yes, I would use my community budget. I would use my community budget, but it would be in a different way. One of the things that I'm advocating for is, and I would like to see if the council would approve it, is for the working class parents that have to go to work in the summertime and kids cannot make it to school, or they don't have anything to do with their time. So as far as having like summer camp programs that the parents don't have to pay for, or a certain, or up to a certain amount, like say we got room at Welcome All, Burdette, and everything else, and we can have a certain amount of kids there, that I would want to use my budget for something like that, as far as that, or helping some people get some street lights or something like that. But P cards, if the purchasing department doesn't do it, if I have to go to a conference, yeah, I'm going to use a P card for that. But everything else, as far as just fine dining and shopping, I do that now. I go out of town. I go out of town. I go everywhere that the council goes, and I pay my own. I can spend my own money, and I always spend my own money. And I go to some of the finest places that they go to as well, and I spend my own money. There's no need for me to use my P card in some of those ways. There's no need for me to go buy 1,000 turkeys with my P card, when I can just use a nonprofit to donate the turkeys and partner up with a church and everybody else. There's no need for that. So I think my budget should be, I want to show people what that looks like. Hey, this person actually used their budget for things in the city or around the district, or where it's needed to be. Not just for, I'm about to go down to the pub on Camp Creek and I'm gonna buy a 30 piece, and that's not what a P card is for. I think that nobody should be able to do that. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, Mr. Snelling has a question.
Yeah, so since we're talking about the P cards, do you think it was disingenuous for the council to approve a compliance audit on themselves and then a forensic audit on someone else, or should everyone have received the same type of audit?
I think that everybody should have received the same kind of audit. What's good for the mayor should be good for the council. I have seen some things that I want to look further into. And I think that if everybody's being upfront, you should be able to, if you don't have anything to hide, you should do the audit. So I think everybody should have done the audit at the same time. And I almost felt like they didn't want to do the audit on everybody. It almost felt like that to me. I don't know how I felt. You felt like nobody really wanted to do the audit on themselves. They didn't want to go too deep because it's election time right now. But I think the audit should have been done at the same time, because we spent a lot of money on that audit. And it was kind of disturbing to spend that kind of money on one person, and what you spend on one person I think he's audited the whole city and spent less. So yes, I think everybody should have been audited the same way.
All righty. Jewel Johnson has a question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mel, I'd like to ask the question about whether or not that you as a candidate would be willing to support impact fees. I know they have done a in order to be able to get impact fees, you have to do a study. So they have pushed toward that. But we haven't heard anything from it. We keep hearing over and over that we can't charge impact fees because developers won't come. And I'd like to know what you think about that, because they've been saying this for over 20 years, and that's not true.
Well, I will support impact fees, but
Mel, let me stop you for a second.
go ahead.
For the audience, can you explain what impact fees are and then go into your answer?
Okay, impact fees are finance of money that they use when they are developing a particular parcel or land or project that may directly impact a school or surrounding or existing community that may need like say they might tear up the roads and developing let's say a subdivision or you might, your development might bring your townhome development might oversaturate the schools or something like that. So they would in turn give that money to the city to offset the cost on what the city would actually have to pay to that you not damage, but what you might have caused impact in something else that from your development.
Mel, you are hitting on it, right? So let me simple make it a little bit simpler for.
Oh, I was going to answer your question.
The question he wanted to know if you would explain what impact fees were. Okay. And it's simple. Impact fees is just the bonds. Really, a lot of times they use bonds, and the developer have to put them up in the event they make a serious mistake and walk away and leave the project. Because if they do that, that falls back on the taxpayers. They're having to straighten that out, and that's not something that we want to happen to our citizens. Because we pay for everything anyway, and we should not have to be doing that. That's one of the reasons why I was asking you, would you be willing to support impact fees? Because we don't have them now, and none of the candidates so far has said anything about supporting it. But I, for one, I am a candidate. I will be supporting impact fees and pushing to make sure that we have that, because I feel we need to protect our citizens like that. So tell me yes, no, whatever you would accept impact fees.
Yeah, yes, I will. I'm trying to figure out why is it taking so long right now? It doesn't take this long to get impact fees implemented. But just me being a realist, these developers ain't gonna pay impact fees and pay you your cut under the table. So
that's right.
Just talking, if we talking freely, they're not gonna pay both. They're not gonna pay you. We just had a situation where somebody was using at the permit department was taking bribes. So they're not gonna do both of those at the same time. Developers will come whether or not you do impact fees or anything else, developers will come here. They will come here. And if you set the standard on what you want, they will come here because they want to make money. Right now, you got a developer that came, that built the house and built a subdivision in 2022, and they didn't have to pay any impact fees. And none of those residents can sell their homes now because it was bad quality development. It was bad development altogether. But I will support impact fees, and I will streamline to. I think with new council coming on, I will streamline that process to where we can actually get impact fees implemented, because it's gone too far and we don't have the things that we need as far as some of those bonds and And some of the things that those impact fees could have helped us with. Instead, we're relying on the residents to you overtaxing the residents on because you say you don't have enough money and you need more density. But if you charge impact fees, those will help us too, as well.
Well, appreciate you answering the question. You answered it very well. I have just one more question. In lieu of all the things that have happened in our city as it relates to our finances, and you talked about some of the things about it equaled up to like $1.6 million, and the people came back and said they'll work it out. That's crazy. We have also heard the city manager coming out talking about people were paying I'm giving away our money without contract. And she named a lot of the companies that was getting the money. Well, she said that she was cleaning up. And I remember that I was one of the people that spoke in the public comment session is, how is it that you clean up breaking the law? It makes no sense. So what I'm saying now, my question is, would you support a forensic audit? Because that's what I feel that we need. We've had so many hiccups as it relates to our money, and we need to know where our money is going. And a forensic audit would dive down in every department, everybody, and we will find out exactly where our money is going without accusing anybody. Would you support that?
Before you answer that, in general, you have an annual audit that is supposed to clarify where money went to and it went where it was supposed to go to. Forensic
No,
audits.
that is your financial audit, and
Right.
everybody is having to do that, whether you a city or county, whatever. That's the financial audit. Is what you're talking
Correct. The forensic audit is walking down the line that some kind of criminal activity has occurred.
Well, you don't know that until it's done. This go way back, baby, when they first started losing all of the staff that they had. We couldn't keep no staff. There was no oversight over contracts. And I know there were several people, because I was one of them, and I can show you one of the letters that I sent to mayor and council with having a big concern about that.
All righty. So Mel, how's your answer to that? And then I'm going to go to Yoshima.
Yes, I will support a forensic audit, of course.
Okay. Yoshima, you have a question?
I do. We were on housing, and I have a question, Mr. Keyton. And my question is, what other solution do you have in have a solution for development here? And I would say, I guess my general thought would be how everything is zoned. Would you support if there was legislation put forward to be able to erase all of the current zoning and just have no zoning, to require every land that we have here in South Fulton to go before the council and the people to make sure that we're building for that district, if that makes sense? Because, and I'll give an example. So say before we became City of South Fulton, you may have had a lot of land that was industrial in a part that is, for years ago, I'll say more than 20 years ago, that was zoned industrial. But now it is not an industrial area. It actually has several residents around. So now that in the 20 years, the district has changed, is it a possibility for that zoning to be able to change? That
Yeah,
makes sense. Like
yeah.
what?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Trying to figure out how to the best ask the question, because the issue we're having is we have a lot of development that's coming, but to me it's not smart development. And you have development because every district is different, even though we're all the same, but we and most likely different in how we are make up. but we all don't want, District 1 doesn't want all the same thing District 4 has, and vice versa. So how would you be able to create a solution for that?
Well, you have to you have well, the first thing, I don't particularly like the this meeting that we had with the consultants as far as the rezoning, the redistricting, and not redistricting, but the rezoning when they were trying to do the land use plan. I don't like the people that were heading that, because it sounded like they already had in their mind what they were going to do and not what we wanted. I would listen to, I would like to go back and revisit that and really listen to what people say they want. And we talked about this thing about warehouses and houses next to the same development, and I mean next to each other. And we talked about that, and it was frowned upon about doing that, but yet they still doing it. And you can't just go back and erase all the zoning, but you can change the requirements and as to what can be built, and what the new ordinance is as far as the stuff that they have already changed. And that's if it cannot be changed. If it can't be changed, then you could change the ordinance to make it where it's tougher, and it forces that developer or whoever's coming with that development to come with some quality. Whatever they build, it has to be quality. And I think that's the issue that we face in the city of South Fulton. Nobody really wants to bring quality development to the city of South Fulton. They just want to bring whatever can sell as fast as they can sell it. And I think that if we can change that ordinance to the stuff that we can't change already, it will actually bring, it will probably be a better deal for us. Did I answer your question? I think I did.
She
sorry.
just wanted to know if you could you change it? Would you
Okay.
be in favor of changing it if you could?
Like if we could create legislation for that. That way we have more, the people in our city will have more control over what is being built. If that makes
I
sense.
would do that. Yeah. Of course I could. I would do that. I would support that. I think anybody coming on council would support that.
So I'm gonna follow up a question with what she just said. So part of the purpose of the land use map, I thought, was that you were designating where things were supposed to be in zone. Am I incorrect?
Yes, that's part of it, but it don't seem like that it don't seem like that happened. When I looked at it, it seemed like they had a meeting and they was pacifying everybody, said, oh yeah, and everybody put the stickers on the map, and then after everybody left, they shut the door and said, we ain't doing that. We're gonna do what we want to do. And that's what it seemed like happened to me. But
Right. I agree with you. I know, I'm sorry if I say your name incorrectly. Is that Leverett?
Yes.
Miss Leverett. Yes. And I think that's the issue. What I'm saying is that we have the meetings for it, but it's kind of like even when we have the zoning meetings or we have people who bring the plans before us to present, we can make all of these adjustments. However, it's kind of like it's already done. And they're telling us in so many ways, we're just, just really somewhat asking for your blessing, but we really don't need it. We can get it done. How can we really get more control to say it can't be done and it's illegal to get it done and you do have to go before the people to get it done?
you want me to answer?
You want me to help answer that, or you want Mel
Oh
to
no.
answer that?
I thought you were talking to you. Okay.
Oh, if she asking me, then I would say in general, the land use map is supposed to be designating where things are. If they are already approved and zoned for that area, they don't have to come in front of council and get approval because they are going where they're supposed to be going. The reason they have to come in front of council is because they're asking to change where they want to be and saying, hey, I'm supposed to be A and I want to be B, even though this area was zoned for A. So now I have to come and get this special use permit and ask to be changed to what I want to be B. I think the problem is people are buying land where they know they're not supposed to be putting what they want, and then they're coming in front of council to say, oh, I bought this and now I need to rezone it. Can you let it through? The second part to that is the a lot of the zoning in place doesn't address what they need to do, the council, and sometimes their hands are tied that they have to go with it because that's the rules they got in place. And so they have to let it through if those loopholes aren't handled. And so I think they got some recommendations to clean it up coming on this council meeting, but we'll see if that makes a difference. That's my opinion. I'm not running for office though. So that's a Mel answer.
Thank you. You both answered it. Thank you.
Alrighty. So I have a question for you. All the council have voting power. The mayor does not. Do you believe that the mayor should have a vote?
Yes, I think I want to. Can I take this question a little further?
Mm-hmm.
I think the mayor should not only just have a vote. I think the mayor should have a little more power to, so his or her or whoever come in, and their administration should look like what they represent, without any pushback from people that are not elected in office. That's how I feel. I think the mayor should, but we are on a weak mayor system. That's why the mayor does not have a vote, because unless it's a tiebreaker about something. But other than that, there would have to be a charter change to make it a strong mayor, weak council. And I don't know if we are ready for from what I'm looking at, that we are ready for a strong mayor, weak council charter right now. But I do think the mayor should have more say so than in whatever they intend to have.
Alrighty, Mr. Stillings has a question.
All right, so the charter tells us that the mayor has veto authority. But if all of the mayor's vetoes are overturned, does the mayor truly have veto authority? Do you think there should be some citizen oversight over the mayor's vetoes, as well as the council overriding the mayor's vetoes? And what I mean by that is, should a citizen oversight committee review the council's decision, review the mayor's reason for issuing the veto, and then make a recommendation to the council prior to a vote? Do you think that would be appropriate? Or what are your thoughts on that?
My thought is on that. I'm sorry, but I gotta talk freely. I gotta be myself, right? The person that ran, the council was upset that they didn't make that they lost that election. I think that because they were upset, they did not. Some people at some time or another probably did not want this mayor to come in office and succeed. I think our mayor did some things that he apologized on, but he still, any mayor should still be given a chance to apologize and make things right, regardless of him, her, the past or present mayor, whoever it may be. They should be given that opportunity. I've seen in the past where I did not like that name that they came up with, the City of South Fulton, the Renaissance. I did not like that name. I couldn't stand it. I was like, oh my God. But I saw that we had a mayor who vetoed that, and the council respected that decision, and they didn't go back and forth. They followed the leadership. I would expect the same thing that you would do for one mayor, you should do with the next mayor. Regardless of, you got to respect the position. The position is mayor. If you respect one, you need to respect the other, regardless if you don't like him or not. You got to respect his position, and you got to follow that veto. Now, a mayor who is vetoing something, a good mayor should see that this council or whoever voted yes to something that was not favorable to the residents or community. If they see that going on, that hey, everybody in this city council meeting came up and expressed their concerns about something that you did. Everybody did that. I'm going to veto this decision because your decision did not represent what the residents wanted in the city. The mayor represents the whole entire city. That veto, or if a mayor vetoes something, should be respected because he represents the whole city. That's how I feel.
All right, now, hopefully I've tried to ask questions that would be relevant to any council person and not specific to your district. However, you are running for a district. Do you have any closing comments you would like to say to potential voters that are specific to your district?
I just want to thank everybody for, coming out and supporting me, and thank you for this opportunity. And we're going to get some change, and through prayer and Lord's willing, we'll get some change. And I can truly make you guys an uncompromised promise that I will do the things that I say I'm going to do, and I will consistently be the person that I say I'm going to be. You will get the person that day in, day out. We might not all get along, we might not agree on something, but I'll always be serving you and you only. And I will not be serving no developers. I will not be serving any colleagues. It will only be the residents that I'll be serving. So I want to make sure that you know that I'm here to bring us a good government and bring my experience to the city of South Fulton. And I just want to thank you, for supporting me, for the people I know I've ran before, and I'll continue to fight. No matter win or lose, I'm going to continue to be the same person and get the wins that I can win and keep fighting a good fight. So thank you.
Well, I hope that whether you win or lose, you will still work to carry out your intentions on what you want to help in the community. You do not have to be in office to make a change in the community. I truly believe that. So I want to say thank you for your time, attention, and willingness to allow me to be your interviewer on behalf of the South Fulton Coalition. I truly appreciate it. For all of you for taking time to sit through this, and a special thank you to Rashard for selecting me to be your interviewer. Thank you all, and thank you everybody for participating tonight.
Hey,
Have a good night.
Tomiko. Hey,
All right,
Tomiko,
thank
I
you.
have a question. I couldn't see where to raise my hand at.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, my name is Cody. I have a question. How do you feel about the council? Their target seems like it's more of senior citizens, being that they don't seem to like have activities for like young adults and the middle age. Seem like they target the seniors more, which is a good thing. It just seems more like they target the seniors because they know they are the ones that are voting. What could you do to get more like the middle aged and young adults to vote?
Well, I'm working on some things now, as far as community bonding with people not only my age but younger as well, and being a real person, just being a realist with the people that I come in contact with. And I do events all the time, and I make sure that it's not only inclusive to a certain age bracket of people. I respect my seniors, and my mother is a senior in the city of South Fulton. My father is a senior in the city of South Fulton. My aunt, so all I know that council tends to do a lot for, like you say, a lot for seniors because they feel like they vote. They have they have the best voting record, and so we're going to focus on anything you say. The seniors this and the seniors that, and the seniors are important. They are important because they have paved the way to where we are today. We also also have to put them in position to, and the young people in position that's coming up to be able to pass the torch. Because one day I'm going to be a senior, and I need them to know the importance of them voting and having leadership skills also as well. So I do notice that, you know, they people focus on seniors a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we also have a lot of senior services right now that we don't even tap into, that our tax money is actually allocated for certain things that are for the seniors, and that they don't even get, and they probably don't even know about. I think our closest senior center is in I think College Park or something like that. And I would love to work on getting a partnering up with Fulton County to get a senior center out this way, so they can actually tap into some resources out this way, because our seniors don't have a lot to do, and they need to they have earned their keep in this community as far as building to what we have today. So they need to be able to have the things that they need as well. But we also got to have balance. We just can't focus on one demographics of people, because everybody live in this city, everybody pays taxes, everybody pays their fair share. So I think that we have to have a balance, and with that budget that we have to have a balance in that includes everybody in that budget, that everybody can benefit from the budget that has been created.
All right, I appreciate your answer, because something I noticed is that, near election time, I noticed that, when the council is running for election, that they're doing like a lot of events. They start doing more events, and, doing these events, they basically promoting themselves. And, you guys are not, able to, have the big events, because, they're using the city funds. I feel like they have more of an advantage than, you guys. So, just something I just wanted to point out. And I know this because I was a former employee of the city. So I actually left the city because, the treatment of how they treated employees wasn't so great. So
Okay, I'm sorry about that, but listen. Let me tell you, when elected under my administration, under my leadership, you don't have to. You will never have to worry about it again. Anybody who work for the city of South Fulton won't have to work under duress, because I think that's unfair. I feel like, with the city, some of these elected officials, they treat the employees like they're some kind of slave. They don't even respect the fact that, that you guys have families, and that you might want to spend your time with on the weekend, and they saturate what they consume your time with what they want to do. I want to have a party, I want to have events, so you got to work overtime to come and have this party for them, and hold and clean up trash, and walk behind them and set their tents up like you're some kind of servant. And I really wish that, you probably could reconsider after this is over with and we get new elected officials, that you can probably come back and not have to work under duress like that, and you can just focus on doing your job and being happy in the place that you're in. Because we all said it when we first started the city, we need somewhere to live, work, and play, and it's not that. It has become a situation where we contracting everything out, and money is changing hands, and we talk to employees like trash. And if you don't do what I say, a council person is direct the staff, and it's all out of whack, and that's not what we signed up for. So I just want to let you know that.
no, I appreciate it. Well, I worked in the finance department, so I didn't have to do any of that. So it was, mentally, them beating us down, you know, um, and actually I wouldn't come back to the city, unless, I mean, just to be honest, the city manager would have to be gone, and half of the council would have to be gone also. So
Okay. Well, we need people. And that turnover that keeps happening has actually been detrimental to the development of the city. And we need people in any government entity that has that knowledge and has that those skill sets to stay. And I've heard this before, that you guys have tried to tell and suggest things that should happen in the city of South Fulton that certain people just did not want to hear, and they were good ideas. And we need that. The people who specialize in those departments and doing those certain tasks on a day-to-day basis, they are the subject matter experts, and we should be listening to those people regardless of what we think, because the council's job is only to create policy and write ordinances. It's not to direct staffing and fall into the day-to-day operations of the city functions every day.
And that was kind of why I asked your opinion of your annual evaluation of the positions that will report to the council. Because I am aware of some things that are going on inside the city and how some of the staff feel and some actions that have happened with the residents. That was why I asked you that question early on where you stood on those positions that report to council. So I will say again, thank you for giving us your time and attention, for allowing me to ask the questions, for allowing the residents to ask questions, and being willing to just sit here and answer everything that everybody's asked you and make your comments on record on how you felt about everything. So I would say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And
I
I
appreciate
appreciate everybody who took the time to sit here and listen.
Thank you so much, Tamiko, for agreeing to be the conversationalist for tonight. Tomorrow night, there will be a city council meeting. I believe it starts at 4 o'clock until whenever they finish. And then Thursday, we will be wrapping up District 4 week with the incumbent, JC Sebastian, right here at 7 o'clock. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We look forward to seeing you Thursday. Actually, I look forward to seeing some of y'all at the council meeting Wednesday and then back here Thursday. So thank you very much, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you.